Welcome back to the Daily Lift. So glad that you're here with me today because I came across a passage in Philippians chapter 2 that hit me square between the eyes and stepped all over my toes. And I want to share it with you today because it's a great reminder for me, and hopefully you'll get some benefit from it as well. And in this passage, we have Paul addressing something that's common to all of us. We all experience life and we all have certain expectations. And a lot of times those expectations don't necessarily match reality, and we'll have a negative reaction because of it. And so Paul here in Philippians chapter 2, verse 14, 15, and 16, he addresses this. He says, "Do all things without complaining and disputing, that you may become blameless and harmless, children of God without fault in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain or labored in vain." And so Paul here, who is addressing the church at Philippi, is reminding them to do all things without complaining, without fighting about it. A lot of times we tend to lean toward that as humans. It's our human nature. We see that through all of history. We see that all around us, that the world tends to be negative and the world tends to complain, tends to fight and dispute about things. And we get so argumentative so sometimes, and we get so quick to take offense. But this passage is telling us in all things, behave in a way that is without complaining, without grumbling, that when we practice gratitude and when we live peaceably, the results are that we are blameless and that we are harmless, as we see here, that we actually become lights in a dark world. See, we as Christians, we are to set the standard. A lot of times we look around us and we see what the people around us are doing. And we say, well, at least we're not as bad as this person, at least we're not doing these kind of things like they are. But we as Christians are to hold ourselves to the standard that God has set for us. We are to set the standard, and we are to be lights and beacons into the world. And not only set that standard, but we have to stick with it, or we become hypocrites. And so how do we avoid complaining, and how do we become lights? We hold fast to the word. That's what Paul's telling us here. That's what I always try to tell you guys, that we have to value the word of God, that we have to convert ourselves to the word and allow it to transform us. And when we do that, we are teaching others also. This is what happened to Paul. He was transformed by the word of God, and he was compelled to teach others. And so he says, when we learn in the right way and we're imitating Paul in the right way, he can rejoice because his labor has not been in vain. The race that he's running is not in vain because we are his fruit. And so I want to encourage you today, when you are about to have something negative to say about something or pick a fight with somebody, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Let's do all things without complaining and disputing. And as always, go lift someone up.